know what it is. Black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
You know who it is. Black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Odie, Mari, Sodi, Mari,
Mari Sodi, Mari Sodi.
black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Hey, oh.
Yes, Mo?
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy. It's the Black and Snurdy podcast with Odie and Maurice.
Hello.
Hola. Hello.
We're back.
And from outer space.
You have joined in for another episode of the Black and Snurdy podcast.
Yes.
Where snurds of a feather flock together.
Finally got it down, guys. Guys, I want you to mark all of your calendars since the pilot. We finally got it down. She finally said it. And mind you, this is, again, her phrase. Not only was it her phrase, she's the one who said, "Oh, we got it. It has to be said at the very beginning." So it got done. Either way,
I feel like I've said that several times on
Sure.
cue.
Probably, maybe.
Perfectly.
Who are you?
Oh, see, and you do this because you know that you're going to distract me. Anyway, I'm your host, Odie.
And I'm the other host, Maurice. And together, we're over here just having a fun podcast together because we're two friends. We enjoy each other, and we want to talk about the nerdy side of things and the popular black nerdy side of things.
I like that.
There we go. Exactly.
good.
Yeah, no, I know how to do a fucking elevator pitch.
Oh,
hey, surprise, surprise.
It's not
I
Lent
can
anymore,
curse now.
everyone, so you just better
Yes. So whenever we post those
put on your
episodes, just know that
explicits.
those were done during Lent, and now it's not Lent anymore. And you can tell which days these were. And you'll find out a little bit more about how I feel when we get to the grudge stuff. Anyhow,
Okay,
so let's go to
we're about to dive in.
So you don't even care that I have drops for stuff. You know what? No. This is that's I'm going to go back and I'm going to snag that as our pop culture drop. That's what I'm going to do. Anyhow. No. Anyhow, so pop culture, what's happening?
Okay,
What's
well,
happening?
don't make me laugh because the first one is not a laughing
No,
matter.
I know.
Okay,
What's popping?
first off,
Stop it. It's not
okay,
funny.
we're
It's not funny. I know.
joking,
I
we're
know.
not
It's,
laughing anymore.
I know.
Get yourself together.
Yeah, come on. I'm not the one who needs to be got together. And
you
also, yeah, I'm good. I
All right.
also,
So, on the first thing of pop culture, the first thing I want to say is that we are sending prayers to DMX because he is currently in the hospital due to an overdose. This happened on Saturday, and I believe now he's off the ventilator or off. He's off the worst part of it, but we still want to make sure he's fully recovered.
right.
And I feel really bad because he was just doing so well on the verses. He looked really good, and he
Right.
was healthy. So but this pandemic, I'm sure it's really making it difficult for everybody to just get through. So just prayers to him.
Yeah, prayers to him, prayers to DMX. I said this earlier. He looked like uncle who has been recovering, but they did some shit in the 70s healthy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's what's disappointing. It's not even disappointing. We just want him to be okay, I literally, and as a side note, guys, your algorithms, please check your algorithms, because if your algorithms are not accustomed to DMX, they will play both the uncensored and the censored version if you just asked him to play DMX. You know what I mean? It's just oh boy. I will hear the same the same We Ride Here song censored, and then 2 songs later uncensored, which is very upsetting because if you're trying, and it messes up the flow. Okay.
As that the PSA that the people.
Yeah, like make sure you
needed.
check your algorithms.
Yes.
You were right there with me when I was trying to play
yes,
DMX, and then it just kept repeating the same song that we heard 7 songs ago.
I remember.
Anywho,
Well,
mhm.
okay. Well, anyway, we just want to just say thank you to DMX for all your years of great music, and
Yeah.
we are wishing you the very best, and we just hope that you get better and you have
Mhm.
your community around supporting you throughout this period.
Agreed.
'Cause I did see some pictures of people like just outside the hospital, just praying for him. So he has a lot of love around him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so on to other pop culture news.
Mhm.
I don't know if you saw the video camera footage from the elevator where Quavo and
From-
Saweetie.
From Corvarius?
Yeah. Quavarius was in some kind of. It was looking like they were having some type of scuffle,
Mhm.
and it looked like it started way before the elevator doors opened.
Based off of it
Because
looked
we
like
only have the elevator footage.
Mhm. We only have the elevator footage. We don't even have a second angle on the footage,
Yeah, it doesn't show us what. You see them like arguing. You
Mhm.
see them like him like her kind of swinging at him, and then him coming to grab at her,
Mhm.
and then he like pushed her into the elevator, and then they're going at it over like this Call of Duty box. And then like I feel like this was I want to say this was one of those situations where the person in the elevator actually realizes, oh yeah, there are cameras in here. Because remember Ray Rice, I
Mhm.
believe, was the one that got in that fight with his wife in the elevator, and he like punched her really hard a few years ago.
Yeah, no, I
But
know the Baltimore football player that
okay, he
you're
was from Baltimore. I forgot. But anyway,
referring
like
to.
I
Sure.
remember when I was watching that, it was like, wow, thank God they had this on videotape, because otherwise, how would if she had gone to the police, like what would she have done?
Right.
But I remember thinking, like, because I've seen several celebrity videos where the
Mhm.
men are like beating their girlfriends or wives or just people in general in an elevator, and I'm
Right.
always thinking, okay, so they do not realize that there's cameras here because these are very swaggy like places they're in. But it looked like to me, which is kind of, I don't know, on one hand it's like, okay, he was paying attention so he didn't go further,
Mhm.
but also kind of scary because like he's in there and he stopped hitting her because of the fact that there was the elevator
Okay. Whoa.
camera.
Look, okay. We can only go off of what was shown in the footage. I'm not about to sit up here and cape for someone assuming that he wasn't like abusive or anything like that off camera. This is what I will say. This is the fact that I will say for the victim, whomever the victim was in the video, right? Get a police report. Just that way it's on record. Period. Point blank. Whomever the victim is, just get a police report. That's my only. I know. Yeah, I know it's not like that flashy or it's not anything
No,
like that.
I mean
I just like, because with this right here, that like now this footage has been released and there has yet to be any sort of clear indicator of what has happened or what has occurred.
But do
So
we need to know exactly what, like?
I mean, it's
what-
obviously open to court of opinion.
But
You know what I
do we
mean?
need to know about the situation outside of, like? Now, that's not saying that she could not. Obviously, she was. They were fighting each other. It wasn't like she was just standing there, like doing nothing.
Mhm.
But I just feel, and this could be my bias as a woman.
Mhm.
But I don't. When I watched that video, I didn't see anything where it was like, oh, she like it. To me, looked like he stopped going further because there was video cameras, because he kept looking at the cameras
Okay.
and not reacting more while she's laying on the ground, and then didn't even, there was no sense of oh, let me help you up. Could it, like, of course we don't know what happened ahead of the time, but now unless Saweetie is just a sociopath, what would be her reasoning of just swinging at someone? Not saying I know there are women who think it's cool to hit men just for the sake of like they're women and they don't have, and it's been taught like, oh, it's like cool, it's so fine if a woman hits a man,
Mm-hmm.
even though clearly it's not, because you shouldn't be hitting your partner regardless of
Mm-hmm.
your sex and their
Mm-hmm.
sex.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing about that interaction to me felt like it was, this is like we're just having an argument and she just swung at him and now he's just trying to like wrangle her, because
Okay.
he showed no kind of remorse
Okay.
or let me help you up after you've been thrown into the wall and you're limping out of the elevator. So I feel like there's, to me, like, not saying is he some like Ike Turner-esque
Mm-hmm.
villain in the hip hop history,
Mm-hmm.
who knows, but also like it didn't appear to me that he was a sympathetic person where
Yeah.
I can like
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh, maybe he was the one who was being assaulted in the video.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, all I am saying with all of it is just legitimately just like get something on the record. That's it. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not indicting anybody. I'm not specifically saying one person is one thing and the other person is another. I'm just saying, like, if you are first and foremost, both of them are celebrities. Both of them are like, they have high profiles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in no offense, like if we're going to go the whole way of just like being mindful, yeah, everybody gets passionate or whatever, loses their sort of sense and whatnot. uh uh like, be just like, put whatever occurred on the record with, I guess, police. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this was old though, and they
It was
said that
old.
she
It seemed
didn't
like it was old. It does like,
she didn't nobody she didn't follow a police report, he didn't follow a police report. It was apparently at a hotel, not a hotel, apartment she was renting,
mhm,
I believe in Las Vegas some months ago.
mhm.
So, you know, if it happened, she didn't follow anything, but I think that it doesn't sound, the fact that they also just broke up,
Mhm.
excuse me, to me, like, it doesn't, it's like all these pieces are kind of coming together.
Okay.
And I remember when they broke up, everyone was like, oh, not everyone, obviously. Some people online were like, oh, she's silly because he spent so much money on her and he spent $300,000. She should have stayed there and secured the bag, et cetera, et cetera. She's materialistic because she wanted him to buy her more things, et cetera, et cetera. But then now these things come out where they were having an extremely, regardless of who was starting what fight, that is an extremely toxic relationship if you're physically assaulting one another.
Mhm.
So now we have like a whole another perspective inside to that story, which is like, I just hope that I hope she's safe and healthy. I hope, if he's safe and healthy, sure. But
Okay.
either way, that was interesting.
That was interesting. Yes, that was.
It
Nope.
was,
That.
or
You know what else
well,
was
it was
interesting?
sad. I
Yeah.
would say it's
Like,
more sad
yeah. I don't
versus
want to
interesting.
just like sit over here and paint it as like, oh, that's an interesting that happened. Nah, man. So like, just like, look, for the both of them, hope they get whatever the help they need necessary. Not necessarily together individually,
individually.
but just I hope that they get the help. But let's chill and talk about Satan for a little bit. Why not? Why not talk about Satan?
Okay.
And Lil Nas X. Oh, look, man. Lil Nas X apparently is making Satan so great with his shoes and his shoe deals with Nike.
Mhm.
Why not talk about that?
But it's not with Nike though. It's just with that Mischief, I believe, is how you pronounce that website's name.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They didn't partner with Nike. They just bought up a bunch of Nike sneakers and using their sneakers to put the logo of Satan on there.
Mm-hmm.
Or not logo, but Satan, and then I think it was Luke 10:18, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. thought you'd have the article up at the very least.
This was the thing that you wanted to talk about. So I thought I didn't know
this is the
that
thing
you
that I wanted to talk about. I never have a laptop open.
Yeah, but
all.
I didn't realize I needed to have. Okay, well,
Jesus
this
Christ.
is a
and he has risen.
this is a pre-pro quandary that I did not realize you needed from me because I have the other things pulled up. Either way,
No, I get it.
What happened was Lil Nas X and Mischief are selling these Satan sneakers, which were sold out in like a minute.
They went quick. I actually tried to go on there and try to get them.
Well, they were $1,000.
I didn't have $1,000. I thought maybe I could like barter.
Like, Afterpay.
I have multiple ketchup packets. Like I think maybe that one might help. Yes, Afterpay.
And the sneakers allegedly had like a little bit of human blood in them, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
And so they were selling them, of course, all these, super evangelicals and so-called Christians who never read the Bible, go to church, or do anything, decided they were angry.
Yeah, but they're sneakerheads.
They were angry at the sneakers because they had the 666 on them, and then they had the verse, I believe it's 10:18, of when Satan falls into the to earth, and this whole thing. So anyway, the sneakers went on sale. They sold out, and now Nike is suing them so they have a cease and desist order because of the fact that they can't. Nike's been getting super a lot of calls from the evangelicals about the sneakers.
You know what? Honestly, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna say I love the power of Lil Nas X.
Yes.
That he's like, his troll game is so hard that it's getting Nike to be proactive in a litigation way. You know what I mean?
But
I love it. I absolutely love it. I know that weeks ago, by this time we've dropped or whatever, I've said that like I'm a grown man and I know that a teenager cannot be my sort of like look up to them or whatever, but I do think that Lil Nas X deserves the praise for the amount of like just all he does is just generate discussion his art, and I love it, and I like him.
I think it's great. I mean, I think that he's super black, he's super queer, and not.
He's a nerd. He is a
nerd. Oh my god, we need to start giving people out snerd cards.
Oh my goodness, Lil Nas X, yo, you have the
inaugural snerd card.
Yes, Lil Nas X. You get the very, very first nerd card.
Yes, because the fact that
shout out to you for being the ultimate snerd, because you are, you're black, you love various genres and everything, and you know how to rile up everybody on
he just
social
is a
media.
Troll, and I love it.
He's a troll, yes.
And they keep trying to come at him, but I'm like, baby, he is like, we were raised with the internet, of course, but he's raised with the internet. This next generation after us, they come with it in a totally different way. Because, of course, we had MySpace and Facebook and all that. And, we even were with the inception of Twitter, but they have it in a different way where they're like, the trolling is just in their blood. It is not a new thing.
It's not even, yeah, exactly. It's literally just it's in his DNA.
It is. And all of his tweets and responses to all these idiots who were tweeting them was just so perfect to me. And I'm just like, I can't wait to see what else he does, how he's just been able to really kind of ride this the way he was riding Satan into oblivion. But yeah, so the
into oblivion, yes.
The Satan sneakers, allegedly Mischief cannot sell their final pair that they were going to give away because of this injunction from Nike. And I'm just like, someone said this on Facebook, but they were like, to act like Nike sneakers were not already made with blood. Because what is anybody, now I'm not going to say where's the outrage, because I've seen plenty of people talking about it. But I don't know if you heard about how Nike has gotten in trouble the past year because of the fact that the Uyghurs in China which is a Muslim group that basically are in concentration camps there
Mhm.
and being quote unquote deprogrammed from
Mhm.
their Islamic ways because they were being deemed as like they wanted the Chinese government wanted to stop the terrorists.
Right.
So they've been working in these camps, and we find out they're making sneakers.
Mhm.
So people have been talking about for a while, like during the whole time when Nike's like Black Lives Matter and they're end
Mhm.
Asian hate, but then also you are allowing people in not now we can't call them death camps because we don't all we know is they're being harmed like
Mhm.
work wise, they're being raped, they're being forced to eat pork, etc., etc.
Mhm.
But they're not being told, oh, this is no one's boycotting them in that same way that these evangelicals don't care that Muslims are being
Mhm.
terrorized,
Right.
but they care that this video where a CGI made up Satan
Right.
is having quote unquote sex with Lil Nas X.
Right. It's almost as if that evangelical white people
Well, and
are
black
very
ones.
picky when it comes to what they are outraged about.
Yeah.
And like it's not a 24-hour sort of thing. It's more so about, hey, this is the popular thing that we are going to hate. Let's drive our hate towards that.
Yeah. And I mean, unfortunately, it's not just the white evangelicals, it's also some black ones, people of color.
Yes, some black ones.
Not some. I mean, I've seen them I went
Yeah.
to parochial school, and on my Facebook feed is plenty of outrage from people who I know were definitely doing some sinning
Mhm.
while we were in school and after. So it's just unfortunate that people are allowing their
I'm
you know,
gonna just say this right now. For anybody who went to college and or high school with me, if you're mad evangelical, I'm gonna call a spade as an adult. Like if I see you on social media and you're just like, how can Little Nas X how am I supposed to explain this to my children? I'm gonna look at you and be like, dude, I saw you suck balls in the 6th grade. What the fuck are you talking about? And then I'm gonna leave it there and I'm gonna move on because like you're if you can't be, no offense, just I'm at this point just very tired of being very picky and selective as far as like what people get outraged about.
That's true.
Or I'm or very picky when it comes to what they deem is upsetting, like when it comes to like thinking about the children. What about the children? What about the children? Fuck them kids. Anyhow, I have not cursed for so long,
You haven't?
and now I'm getting back into it. Can we go ahead and chalk out these nasty man spotlights for the mentors?
The dusty Dementors.
These dusty dementors.
Yes.
With not shout out. It's not a shout out. This is like shining a light on these dusty dementors. Hey, Chet Hanks, fuck you. Okay.
You really are excited to say that.
Yes. Chet Hanks, you spent a good portion of last week being in the news, being like, "Oh, you're like me and John B. and Jack Hollow, like we're all good. This is gonna be a white dude summer." Nah, it turns out like you have domestic abuse issues and like in your past and stuff. And quite frankly, no offense, but just oh boy, I just personally I'm not a big fan of like white dudes who co-opt urban patois.
Well, he co-ops urban patois and Jamaican patois. If you could even call it that, what he's doing.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly was not surprised to find out that his ex-girlfriend has a restraining order against him.
Mhm.
And the things that he was saying to her were both they were sexist, they were racist,
Mhm.
they were really disgusting. And him calling out this white boy summer. Where it's like, oh, these special kind of white boys who
Mhm.
like black women, we're the ones who are going to be taking over the summer. Like, first of all, I am not, the pink. Well, okay, I am pink starburst because I'm really dope, but I'm not pink starburst in the sense that you could just fetishize me in this way of like, ooh, I want those. And, we just love black women so much and we're constantly going to talk about them. But because you don't actually care about
Yeah.
me as a black woman.
Yeah.
You care, like, you like me as a pink starburst, as something sweet you could eat, but you don't like me enough to take care of me when shit's actually happening. And those are the worst kind of white men because they pretend as if they don't, that they see race, but they see it as in your chocolateness is beautiful, and they love you so much, and black women are for grown ups, etc. Whatever bullshit. I forgot what white man said that a few years ago. But it's like when things are actually happening, when like, are they worried about the fact that black women have a maternal mortality rate 3 times higher than white women, regardless of the fact that they could be Serena Williams or Beyonce? Because that's like actually true. Both of them almost died for the fact that black women are not listened to, even when they have millions of dollars.
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
where's the care then? It's like you're really just wanting me as some kind of arm candy on you, and you're appreciating my beauty, and you're accepting that.
Right.
But that's it. You're not really caring about the fact that I'm a person and I need, rights and equality and equity in this society.
Right.
So it's just like, you know what? Fuck you.
Right. And no offense, but sorry, there's a lot of movement going on in the background. If you could hear it, that's me because I like to look, man. I fidget. I'm very.
It's all right.
I suffer from mental illness. I hate saying I experience mental illness, and I'm get anxious.
You are neurodivergent.
There we go. I'm neurodivergent. I'm a part of the divergent verse. Anyhow, but yeah, no, he gets the Dusty Dementor for this week, quite frankly,
as well as
oh boy,
this guy Matt Gaetz. If you don't know him, he's a Republican from Florida who was who's being charged with sex trafficking a 17-year-old girl. And he's done a series of very weird interviews. He has now said he is being extorted. This is an extortion plot by, I guess, the Democrats are extorting him and saying he's, having these relationships. But the fact that he called the 17-year-old a woman, it was just like, that already is telling me things that I need to know about how you're viewing an underage child. It's just like, I'm not surprised at all. He was a super campaigner for Trump, super promoter for Trump. We already know that Trump is a disgusting man who likes to sexually harass women of all ages. We learned about, and this is not even things that were not common knowledge. The girls at the Young Miss America pageant were talking about how he was coming through the rooms when they were in their underwear and getting dressed and looking at them and saying he could do whatever he wants. Like, they were testimonials for years about these. So I'm not surprised that this man was doing these things. And honestly, when you think about those shows like Handmaid's Tale, and you learn about Gilead and the men who are like willing to rape women, he's definitely one of them. He's definitely one of them. Like that, I'm not surprised that anyone in Trump's camp would be cool with being a sexual predator and pedophile.
Honestly, all you had to do, I didn't even dig deep into the story. Sadly, all I had to do was hear Republican from Florida, and I was like, all right, well, there you go. And there it is. Is there more that needs to be figured out? I'm sorry, sorry, Florida, until y'all start stepping up, making it clear, like, hey, we're not the perception of what everybody says. Sorry. Y'all are doing a shitty job. Anyhow, and then when it comes to this guy, no, he's definitely the dustiest of dementors. I don't even want to talk about him. Fuck him in all of his teeth. All right, like right in the damn teeth.
Ugh.
All right. I'm sorry. Like, can we? You know what, Odie? Is it okay if we go take a quick break?
I think you need to cool down.
Yeah, I need to cool down.
We take a quick break and we'll be back to talk about more things.
Fantastic. We'll see you soon.
You're listening to the Black and Snurdy Podcast.
We now return to the Black and Snurdy podcast.
And we are back.
From outer space.
That's all we can ever say. And honestly, I like it. I like saying it.
I mean, the first thing that pops into my head every single time I say I'm back.
I'm back from outer space. Like, cause what other scenario are you in where you just come in and you're like, I'm back from outer space? Like, where have you gone for so long that like somebody would be grateful that you're back?
It's not it's just literally my brain is like a human jukebox. So the moment I hear a word, it's like word association to another song, and then I start singing that song.
That's exactly that's my style of comedy. My style of comedy is literally I hear a word and then I just like free association with it. You know what I mean? Okay, but either way, that's fine because I would like us to this is our time, and we should probably chat about our mental health journey.
And you have something.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind?
And that is
I love that song. Can you please give the audience?
That is Where's My Mind by the Pixies, which, as a side note, as a nerd note, is now purchased by AEW's Tony Khan so that it could be the intro to Orange Cassidy. Like, I now...
Is AEW wrestling?
Yes, okay. AEW is wrestling. And they literally bought the rights to play the Pixies at wrestling events for the Best Friends. Like, and I love it. I absolutely love that they could do that. But either way, sorry. So yeah, anyhow. Okay. This is the section where we, just talk about our mental health journeys. How has your mental health journey been this past week?
Well, it was a bit difficult. I was dealing with some depression, some anxiety. Thankfully my therapist is back this week, so we were able to talk about it. And we got down to it in a therapy session. I was crying. We were talking about everything. And I just realized, even though ADHD is not like, I would say for me, it is not something that I like to use as any sort of crutch or anything like that. But it is sometimes, I would say a lot of times, frustrating. Just because like this world that we're living in is not, it's not created for people who are not one particular way. And that, goes for whether it's being a straight, cisgendered, Christian, white, wealthy man, but also like one that's neurodiverse. Or sorry, neurotypical.
Right.
And so I just think about so many things that I'm constantly for me struggling with, have to do not because of anything that I'm doing wrong as a person. It's just that trying to fit into this mold of like having every single thing in this particular way and doing things in this structure and routine, which is sometimes can be difficult when you don't always have the best focused or able to not get sucked away into something, and then your time blindness is kicking in, or your working memory issues, or etc. Like there's so many different things that come with it that create anxiety for me personally, and a lot of other people that I know, particularly non-men that I know.
Okay. No,
because I'm talking about
continue.
ADHD. Not
Gotcha for ADHD. Yeah.
So like, and I know that other neurodiverse people have these difficulties as well. And I just really wish that we can get to a place where all of our brains and the way that we're seen as viable and okay, versus everyone trying to fit into one particular box. And one book that I've been reading this week that I found really helpful is Divergent Mind.
By who? Or by
well,
whom, I should say.
well,
Sorry. I graduated from the School of Communication, so yes, I know at least some of the correct terms when it comes by whom, not by who. Okay? No, I get very specific when it comes to like
grammar things.
Yeah, I also went to when I was younger, I went to a school to teach how to be a
Oh, you went to
proper
etiquette class.
yes, I took etiquette classes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
That's why I'm aware of like letting women walk on the inside. I know how to walk straight and proper. There's multiple things that I know how to do as a proper gentleman, as a proper as a southern dandy, you know what I mean?
Okay, well that's great.
Yeah. And then I'm put in situations where I have to yell and be more aggressive. You were
So
saying?
the book is Divergent Mind: Thriving in a World That Wasn't Designed for You. It's by Janara Narenberg,
Mhm.
and she is the founder of the Neurodiversity Project. So she wrote this book.
Okay. Okay.
Now it's not only for women, non-binary
Of course.
people,
Yeah.
or whatever, but I think that everything she's talking about is really great for those who are neurodiverse
Mhm.
and those who work with them, who love them, who care about them,
Mhm.
just for more of understanding. And she was talking about something, excuse me, in the book, um, that is basically like having, I don't remember the exact term she used, but having, we have like civil rights, we
Right.
have sex rights and everything like that, but
Yes.
having rights for people who have a different type of brain,
Right.
like you're having a neurodiverse brain. And
Right.
I'm like, that's really interesting. I don't think a lot of people think about, even though we do have like disability rights, but I don't think that just because your brain works differently that is a disability. Now
Right.
sometimes it can be.
It can
There are
be if it's
people,
severe enough.
yeah, like
You know
I
what I
know
mean? And
people
by severe,
who,
oh boy.
well, I mean, sometimes it could be
I've already
severe.
told you how I felt about like referring to like myself as like I suffer from like it's not I refuse to say that. Like there was a time when that was the nomenclature of saying like I suffer from mental illness or I suffer from manic depression or depression or whatever like that. Like
Yeah.
I absolutely refuse to use that nomenclature anymore. I've been doing that for years. Like I don't suffer anything. I experience it. It's a part
Hmm.
of my daily,
Life.
life,
Yeah.
but it's not suffering.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just a thing that is a part of my life
And I mean,
that
some
I
people
experience.
might, I know people who do find it very difficult, even more difficult than maybe that you and I, that might have, have actual suffering due to
Mhm.
their neurodivergence. And that's fine. Like, or, it's, of course, hopefully they could have help and everything, but it's like your brain doing something that causes you to have a difficult life does not mean you are not a regular person. You just are dealing with kind of extraordinary circumstances.
Yes.
And you should be given that same grace and understanding. And we do have, sometimes they'll have the news like, oh, this person with Down syndrome, they put them on the team or they let them work, etc. And it's like, I love those stories. It's great. I want people who are different, quote unquote, to be living the same lives and being able to pursue the same happiness
Yeah.
as everybody else. But it's like, why can't we have somebody who has Down syndrome on a team regardless, or working in an office regardless? Because yes, sometimes someone with Down syndrome might be to the far end of the spectrum where they might need people to help them throughout the day, in the sense that is like would cause them not to be able to work.
Right.
But there are still plenty of people with Down syndrome that are just as capable as everybody else,
Right.
who may not have Down syndrome, and they should be allowed to work without it being like a handout to them, or
Right.
seen as like this is something special. Like they're not they're not special outside of the fact that they're humans and we're all special.
Yeah.
Like, give them the ability to prove who they are and prove what they're doing, and also give have patience. Have patience for the fact that maybe they might learn things differently. You might have to explain things differently for them, but that's okay, because I know for me, I need things to be explained differently sometimes. I need things to be done differently for me at work, and that doesn't mean that I'm stupid or that I'm not capable. It just means that, like, my brain works a bit differently, and if you work with me and the way my brain works, I'm going to give you the best thing that you've ever experienced, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to love the work I'm doing. You're going to be like, wow, this is so cool and amazing. But if you just are judging it on how maybe a more neurotypical person does something, you're going to be expecting something else and maybe be, let down in a way. But it's like, I I just was feeling very bogged down by this, like, world of normalcy, quote unquote, like, that we're constantly trying to fit ourselves into, especially in this pandemic, when it's like nobody's living in a normal time regardless right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we're supposed to be still being normal, feel, or whatever normal is to someone, whoever created that term normal, is just
I'll
weird.
I'll say this right now, and I'll say this in a succinct way so that we can like go to the next thing. Last summer when everybody was getting super behind being woke about black people, and black people are being murdered and stuff, and companies are like, oh my goodness, black people are just being murdered on the street. We should actually be more cognizant about the black people in our company because blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like last year is when I decided to not code switch anymore,
Hmm.
as far as like use my regular voice and speak the way that I want to.
Hmm.
Because how I am and how I live and how I move through the world, that's my normal.
Hmm.
And I should not have to bend backwards to create the normal for everyone else.
Yeah.
Because all I'm doing is why is me being myself not the standard for normalcy?
Hmm.
And so I would apply that logic to my mental health and to the mental health journey that you are on. Like, why is like, no, I'm going to move through the world. This is how I am. I experience this thing that's about me. I'm only speaking for myself. I'm bipolar 1, man. That's my thing. Doesn't make me less or more or anything. That's just me. That's my normalcy. That's my normalcy. And I'm going to move through the world accordingly because that's my normalcy. I'm not going to bend over backwards just to accommodate whatever the standard version of normalcy might be. And I encourage you to do the exact same thing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. My
And
apologies. I get very passionate when it comes to this type of shit. I'm like sorry.
well, did you
I'm not
answer
Yeah, why am I apologizing?
what you felt like how your mental health was going this week?
No, I didn't. Hey, I actually like. It turns out, even though I spent a lot of time, thinking that, hey, you know what? What I will say about my mental health journey this past week is essentially just I I I I I did not realize that I was depressed when I was. Um I referred to as somebody before I was diagnosed with bipolar 1. The outdated term used to be manic depression. I used to have ter- uh fields of my life where I refer to it as my blue period, and that would be my depressive states. I will probably just, if we're just going quickly, um, the new diagnosis kind of messed me up as
Hmm.
far as like what I know about my life, and
Hmm.
therefore it kind of threw off what I recognize as my blue periods and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
I'm working to rejigger that and figure out stuff. Okay,
Well,
so
that's good.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so last week I had us draw a picture of a house, tree, and a person, because it was based on a personality test created by John Buck in 1948, and it was originally created by Florence Goodenough in 1926, and it was designed to kind of assess children's intelligence, but like they updated it, and then psychologist Emmanuel Hammer, he kind of updated this HTP test in 1969. So I would like us to switch. You give me your drawing, and I'll give you mine.
Okay. I'll give you. Oh boy.
Well,
I will go ahead and give you my drawing.
Give it to me.
It's right here.
So, here you go. You can look it over.
Yes.
And so basically,
should we describe our drawings?
Wait. If you wait.
Okay.
For me to finish.
All right.
Okay.
I...
Do you need a chill pill?
No, I don't need a chill pill. We're friends. We're friends, all right?
Well, sometimes. So basically, you take the test, and then there's some questions that you are supposed to answer, like who lives in the house, do people visit the house, what kind of tree did you draw, how old is the tree, like who is the person in the picture, how old is the person, etc. Like there's a few different ones.
Okay, so there's a bunch of questions, and then what?
And then each of the different parts of the drawing tell a story. Okay. So the house is considered to be an expression of the respondent's family relations and family values.
Okay.
The tree is thought to suggest the deepest unconscious aspects of the personality.
Okay.
And the person is a symbolic representation of the ideal self and one's social interactions.
Okay. What does my drawing say about me, and what does your drawing say about you?
I can't tell you what your drawing says about you, but I will say this. Now, you have
my drawing is mad basic.
Well,
I'm not gonna
lie. Both of
lie.
us have a pretty basic.
You have a 3D version, like so.
But you
so
have
for the listeners, your version of a first off, the fact that you have a 3D square of a house that also I think has an attic of a triangle pyramid on top of the. Clearly someone listens to Frank Ocean. That's what this tells me. Either they listen to Frank Ocean or they watch Step by Step. Okay,
I'm gonna read you a little bit of what the kind of descriptions mean.
Sure.
So the level of detail is another revealing factor in outlining the person's personality through the drawing. A very detailed face on the person might indicate a need to present oneself in a favorable social light.
No, stick figures.
On the contrary, pictures lacking details often indicate depression.
Yo, we're depressed. Both of us are mad depressed.
The locations of the objects on the page are also mean something. So if your drawings close to the top of the page are considered being related to dreams and imagination, while ones at the bottom are connected to the physical world. Drawing on the right side of the page is linked to the future, in the center to the present, and the left the past. And basically just
based on this, you're focused on the future and the past, not the present, which makes so much sense. Because you will not give any emotion to the present. So that makes a lot of sense. That
anyway,
absolutely makes sense.
So
that makes sense.
The house, the roof stands for the intellectual side and spiritual life of the individual. The walls are related to the person's character strength. The doors and windows represent the individual's relationship
You got
to the
small
outside.
Ass doors. And small ass windows.
What are
I'm sorry. No. Time out. You know what's gonna happen? I'm going to take a picture of these.
So you interrupted me just to tell the people you're gonna take a picture.
Absolutely.
The doors and the windows represent the individual's relationship to the outside world and the level of social integration. The tree.
What is up with the tree?
The branches may show the degree of social connectedness. A tree with no branches indicates, for instance, a person has little contact with others.
Ooh,
the trunk is often seen as representation of inner strength. The tree crown, which I guess is where the bushes are at the top, stands for ideas, thoughts, and self-concept. And then the person, the head symbolizes intelligence, communication, and imagination. The eyes indicate the perception of the world, and the hands give information about effectivity and aggressiveness.
So for the listeners, we drew a house, a tree, and a person, and what we're finding out is that both of us are depressed.
But we also have
some as far as the houses are concerned, Actually, I think this says more about you than it does about me.
Why? You have a whole house with 4
I'm
windows.
a basic bitch.
You
Like,
have
I don't know what else
chimneys.
to
You
tell
have
you.
doors.
Yeah.
I think these are both. Neither of these tell more or less.
No,
They're
you
both.
have more details. Why do you have more details?
I'm a detail-oriented person.
No, I never said that that's a bad thing. You're the one who's reading off this house thing that says like, oh, it says that you're depressed. It says that
That's not the
you
only thing that it said.
specifically like neither of like we don't have social connection. Actually, I have less
No.
social connections than you because you have branches.
I have.
I
lots
don't
of
have a lot
branches.
of branches, so like me, it's just like my tree was just a tree, and it was essentially like I don't.
All right. Well, anyway, I hope
I guess I'm like I'm not the giving tree.
I would like the listeners to let us know, like, send us pictures of your tree
Yeah.
people house tests.
Mhm.
And then next week, I want you all to look up online the Dark Triad Personality Test. I want you to take it so that we can see what you get, because we're gonna take it and we're gonna see what we got. And
Exactly.
we're going to talk about it again next week, because I think these tests are so freaking cool and I love finding out more about them.
Sure.
So yeah.
All right. So you know what? Normally we would sort of go into the thing that's been grinding us and whatnot, but I want to switch it up. I actually don't want to talk about the things that was grinding us. I want to just focus on the things that made us happy. Because if I'm being honest, look, I'm only going to speak personally. This past week was a bit trash for me. This was a hard week. Like, I had a few personal depression blows. Not anything that had to do with my career or even had to do with my relationships or anything like that, but I had a blue period this week and I was down. You know what I mean? So I would, rather than sort of focus on the things that annoyed the shit out of me or just call attention to that, I'd rather, if it's okay with you, just spend some time talking about like the things that gave me joy, if possible. And I want you to start. No, you go. You go first, motherfucker. I said all that. I still got you off. Yeah, I'm still myself.
Well, maybe
MF.
less of yourself.
You're at. Thank you so much for stifling me.
Anyway,
you were saying.
You're welcome. So some things that brought me joy this week. I went to brunch.
Ooh. Nice.
And that was really nice because I haven't been to brunch in a very long time. I was masked up. I was outside.
Mask on.
I went to brunch twice, actually. Once it was indoors, but thankfully very, very social distance.
Yes.
Which was awesome. And then once outside, which was great. And then I went to outdoor happy hour with my friends, which, I mean, this is the most social interaction I've had in like a year. Not like in actually like a year. And I'm very excited to go get vaccinated at some point.
Yes.
I'm going to be making an appointment for that, because it's just like, even though like, and I am not an anti-vaxxer, but I'm also not like, ooh, put it in my arm like the first day it came out. I'm like, let me see more people. I know.
No. My brain, the face that I made was because in my brain I did a word association thing, and I was like, put it in my arm.
Oh goodness. Well, yes, that's a good song. That's actually a good song. If they would have put that on the commercials, probably more people would have been interested in
more black people would definitely put it in my arm. Put it in my arm. Oh my God. That's what we need to do in the black community. Just be like, yo, like let's excuse me.
All right. Anyway,
vaccination.
Continuing. But now that I know,
I see some ladies tonight who getting vaccinated. Okay, sorry. You were saying. My apologies.
I know people. I know at least 10 people now who have gotten vaccinated. They have had no issues, and they've had both of their vaccinations, like both doses.
Yeah.
They haven't had any issues so far, except for maybe like mild fatigue. You know, the normal things that that happen when you get your shots. So I feel like okay with that. And just so everyone knows, just because you get vaccinated does not mean you don't need to wear a mask. Does not mean that you're going to be good forever. Just like majority of the vaccines we do have, you have to do it like once every year. There'll probably be a booster shot or something that comes out later on. But I'm just going to get it so that I can go around and be happy, healthy, and not as worried about getting the coronavirus. Not saying I'm never going to be worried about it, but like I'm not going to be as worried.
Right.
What about you?
For me, honestly, it's a very, 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 very small thing, but I've slowly but surely learned how to cook salmon for somebody else. To give a little bit of backstory, for a long time, I grew up in a household with my mom. She taught me how to make food. Okay. And for a long time, I always said that, like, I know how to make food. I never said I know how to cook, because in my mind, cooking means other people will eat the thing that you make. Meanwhile, I know how to make food, aka I will make the stuff that I will eat. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I will cook a roast that will last a week, and then I'll slice that off and I'll eat that. I will cook pasta and eggs, and then I'll maybe put some Alfredo sauce, grind those up into the thing. Like,
do you put the egg in the pasta?
Well, first off, there's a such thing as a ramen, but anyhow,
okay.
But either way, like, I never, for a long time, I just did not have the mindset of making any sort of edible thing for anyone else. It was just like, the most important thing was like, I'm making food, I'm eating it, I'm doing this to sustain myself. And it's only relatively, with, let's say, the last 2 years that, like, I've been cooking for other individuals. And I know the fish in and of itself is kind of tricky. This past week, cooked some salmon. I was told that the salmon was really good, but it was a little bit salty. I did another round of cooking salmon, and then I was told it was really good.
Oh, that's good.
And I felt that it's a small thing, but it made me feel really good to be able to cook. And it was specifically cooking for someone. I specifically made that for an individual, and I wanted them to enjoy it and like it. And I took their, I would say, their notes previously, as far as the previous salmon, and I cooked to their liking, and it just made me feel really good to know that they liked it.
That's great. And then, this goes above just the salmon, because I feel like if you can take somebody's notes on your food and incorporate those, then you could take their notes in any other part in whatever area of the relationship, to help build it up and make it even better and tastier.
Sure. I agree with you. I'm just specific when it comes for me. I'm a basic person. Like, a thing that I do for, I don't do a lot of things for people, but the things that I do, I want them to be good. And the fact that the person that I did that for appreciated it, that literally made the world for me. So I'm glad that occurred.
I love that.
But that's, hey, if you love it, I like it. So, and yeah, I think that is pretty much it. I feel like we should legitimately just let everybody know, hey, thank you for listening to all of this. Thank you for letting us be a part of your world. Like and subscribe. And konnichiwa, kawaii.
And
you can follow us at.
Thank you.
You can follow us individually. I am at Licorish is legit on all social media. You could send us emails at Black and Snurdy Podcast, and on social media we are Black and Snurdy Pod.
Okay, awesome. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. That's OD. And remember that this is where Snurds of a Feather flock together.
Fantastic.
See you next week.
Bye. Kawaii.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email
at blackandsnerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snurdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snurdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorish is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's that's OD THATSOD.E, and on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Sturdy Podcast, where nerds of a feather flock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.